We all know the original story of Star Wars, but what would have happened if the Force had trained Anakin from a young age? It all begins with the birth of Anakin. This time, he is born alongside his mother, but also with the Force. From his birth, Anakin receives messages and guidance from the Force, which acts as his father. Anakin, together with his father, or the Force, trains his connection with it and learns how to use it. Thanks to this training, he frees himself from slavery, along with his mother, and they live on the outskirts of Mos Espa. In the original timeline, Padme's ship loses certain parts and has to land on Tatooine, where they find Anakin as a slave. But in this case, Anakin is no longer a slave and lives on the outskirts. Everything follows the original line. Qui-Gon goes down to the city to look for the necessary parts for the ship. There, he meets Watto and Wade, a friend of Anakin who tells Qui-Gon about pod racing and also mentions that he has a friend with magical powers who will participate in the race. Intrigued by the boy's words, Qui-Gon decides to watch the pod race. This would be his first encounter with Anakin. He sees Anakin repairing his pod racer using the Force and preparing for the race. Anakin leaps onto the pod racer, levitating with the Force. The race begins, and Qui-Gon pays close attention to Anakin. During the race, Anakin anticipates the other racers' moves and shows great ease in handling the pod racer. As in canon, Anakin wins the race. Qui-Gon decides to approach the boy and asks him where he learned to do that. Upon learning that Qui-Gon is a Jedi, Anakin eagerly invites him to his home to share what he knows. Qui-Gon and Anakin arrive home, where Anakin's mother has prepared a meal. Qui-Gon introduces himself to her and explains how he met her son. Qui-Gon and Anakin's mother talk for a while, and as they talk, they serve the food. Qui-Gon notices that Anakin talks to himself, as if conversing with someone. He decides to ask his mother who Anakin is talking to which she responds that he talks to his father. Qui-Gon is perplexed and asks her what she means by his father. The mother explains that she became pregnant naturally and that Anakin has no biological father. She says that Anakin talks to someone who presents himself as his father, but whom only he can see. Qui-Gon begins to think that Anakin might be the child of prophecy, so after eating, he decides to take a blood sample, which reveals that Anakin has a very high concentration of midichlorians in his blood, surpassing even Master Yoda. Qui-Gon communicates his findings to Obi-Wan and then returns to Anakin and his mother. Once again, Anakin is seen talking to himself, but this time Qui-Gon begins to perceive a humanoid form in the air, which becomes more defined. Qui-Gon asks Anakin if he knows what that is, to which Anakin, surprised that someone else can see it, responds that it is the Force and that it is his father. Qui-Gon, astonished, proposes to Anakin that he be presented to the Jedi Council to be trained as a Jedi. Anakin hesitates, looking at his mother, knowing that this means leaving her behind. He is about to tell Qui-Gon no until the Force or his father tells him that he must train as a Jedi to further enhance his abilities. Anakin remains undecided. His mother looks at him and smiles. She tells him that his destiny is not on Tatooine and that he must go with the Jedi Knight. Anakin hugs his mother and tells her that he will see her again someday, then leaves with Qui-Gon. They are about to reach the ship when Darth Maul appears. Qui-Gon tells Anakin to run to the ship and that he will follow. Anakin does not obey and only steps back slightly. In this timeline, Anakin is much stronger than in canon, as he has learned many skills through the training his father or the Force has provided. Qui-Gon draws his lightsaber and Maul does the same. The battle begins. Darth Maul is very agile, and Qui-Gon struggles to defend himself. The fight does not last long, as seconds after it begins, Anakin grabs Maul with the Force and hurls him into the air. Qui-Gon and Anakin run to the ship, which takes off for Coruscant. On the ship, Qui-Gon asks why Anakin did not go to the ship when told. Anakin replies that he just wanted to help him. Obi-Wan enters the scene and asks Qui-Gon what happened, to which he replies that they encountered what he believes to be a Sith Lord. Anakin asks what a Sith Lord is, and Obi-Wan explains that they are Force users who wield the dark side and were thought to have been extinct for years. Anakin asks Qui-Gon what the dark side of the Force is. Qui-Gon explains that those who use the dark side drew their power from unrestrained emotions such as anger, hatred, and aggression, which led to loss of control and emotional imbalance. The ship arrives at Coruscant, and the Jedi head to the Jedi Council. Qui-Gon tells them about what they believe to be a Sith Lord. Mace Windu and Yoda do not give it much importance and ask if this is the child Obi-Wan mentioned. Qui-Gon replies yes. He tells them that he took a midichlorian level sample and found the highest levels he had ever seen. He also tells them that Anakin helped temporarily get rid of the Sith Lord and that he already masters several Force abilities. Yoda and Windu look at each other and then speak directly to Anakin. They ask him how he learned these abilities and how long he has known how to use them. Anakin tells them that his father has taught him since he was young. The Jedi ask who his father is, to which Qui-Gon intervenes and says that his father is the Force itself. Yoda tells Anakin that he senses fear in him, to which Anakin replies, "What do you expect having left my mother behind?" Yoda tells him that fear leads to anger, anger to hatred, and hatred to suffering. He explains that fear is the path to the dark side. As in canon, the Council does not accept Anakin into the Order, but Qui-Gon responds that he will train the boy regardless of their decision. Meanwhile, Darth Maul meets with Darth Sidious and recounts the events with Anakin. He tells Sidious that there is a very powerful child who could destroy them. The scene is brief, as Sidious simply tells him that he must eliminate his master, Qui-Gon, so that the child does not receive such balanced training. The mission to protect the Queen of Naboo, Padme, leads Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Anakin to Naboo, where they encounter an invasion by the Separatist faction. The Jedi protect the Queen until they meet Maul again. Qui-Gon once again tells Anakin to retreat, but Anakin insists he can help them. The Queen and her guards seek a safe place while Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Anakin face Maul. This time, Maul wields his double-bladed lightsaber. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon attack simultaneously, but Maul responds with a strong counterattack. The battle intensifies and moves to another room. Maul manages to land a critical blow on Obi-Wan, pushing him out of the fight. Anakin, at first, does not find the right moment to intervene, but when he sees Maul's guard drop, he decides to push him with the Force. Maul gets up and pushes Anakin back as well. Maul focuses on Qui-Gon, as his goal is to eliminate him. The battle continues, moving to an area with laser walls, just like in canon. Obi-Wan tries to reach them but is delayed by the barriers. However, this time Anakin uses the Force to stop the laser walls from closing, allowing Obi-Wan to catch up to Qui-Gon and Maul. Once together, the fight reaches its end. The Sith, exhausted and with no escape, is defeated when Obi-Wan delivers the final blow, leaving him dead in this timeline. They complete the mission and return to the temple with proof of having defeated a Sith Lord. Yoda and the rest of the Council congratulate them on their work and admit they should have paid more attention to what Qui-Gon told them. Qui-Gon states that without Anakin, they would not have succeeded and insists again that he should be trained in the Order. Yoda says he perceives much conflict in Anakin and cannot accept him. Qui-Gon replies that this is not right and that he will leave the Order to train the boy. Yoda and the Council accept his decision, and Obi-Wan decides to join his master, convinced that Anakin is special and that without him, they might not have survived. Thus ends the first part of this story. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and share your ideas for the second part.